Well, welcome to Gibraltar. Here we are at one of the southernmost points of Europe, the Pillars of Hercules, where the Atlantic comes into the Mediterranean. And I'm here because I'm one of 7 members of the European Parliament representing Gibraltar. What happened was a lady from Gibraltar took the United Kingdom government to the European Court of Justice because they were expected to abide by European Union laws without having any say in the framing of those laws. And the Court of Justice found in her favour and obliged the British government to enfranchise the citizens of Gibraltar. And so since 2004, Gibraltar has been represented as part of a new constituency called the South West of England and Gibraltar. And it's meant that MEPs have had to grapple with some of the very strange, almost anachronistic problems and challenges that the inhabitants of Gibraltar face. On the surface, this is an extremely good, happy, thriving community. And indeed, that is largely true. But what people don't understand is that for some members of this community, some of the Moroccan workers, for example, who are now in retirement or who are unemployed, for members of the community who are campaigning for human rights for disabled people or gay and lesbian people, life is anything but perfect. There are all forms, all kinds of discrimination, in a sense, practiced in Gibraltar, some by the Gibraltar authorities themselves, some by the Spanish government against Gibraltar citizens, and some effectively by the United Kingdom government for not applying or not allowing European law to apply to Gibraltar in the same way as it does elsewhere. And so I've brought down 10 or 15 of my colleagues from Brussels and Strasbourg, MEPs from all kinds of different countries across the European Union, to come and meet people from Gibraltar. We've met government spokespeople, we've met opposition spokespeople, but we've met environmental campaigners and human rights campaigners as well, and understand the kind of challenges this place faces. If I give you a very simple example, it was only due to my intervention last year that disabled people got the same rights at Gibraltar Airport as they would have at any other airport in the European Union. The European Commission would happily have left them out of the legislation, as it does with most aviation legislation, because of the dispute between Britain and Spain over sovereignty, over the little piece of land that links the Rock of Gibraltar to the mainland. That's the kind of challenge that we face here, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to show colleagues from other countries what is the reality here, and how we can learn not only from the strengths and successes of this community, and there are many, economic strengths in particular, but also help them with some of the social problems they face caused by a rather strange treaty, the Treaty of Utrecht, signed back in 1713, which has led to all kinds of disputes over sovereignty.
Gibraltar is a place I may have heard of but never been to. I think the fact they've had they've met different groups, they've met different political parties, government, opposition, and they'll take with them a broad overview of what Gibraltar is. And I hope they'll, if they come across Gibraltar in the future in their deliberations, they'll be able to make a more informed judgment or opinion about the place.
Gibraltar is a part of European Union, but beside of transposing community acquis, it has to promote more its voice and has to promote its image inside European Union, because we know too little about this. And lobbying at the European level, it helps very much.
One of the interesting things about Gibraltar is the community here. It's a community made up of people who've come from all parts of the world. There are Italians here, originally from Genoa. There are Maltese, there are Goans, Indians, Sri Lankans. One could almost say, if it weren't perhaps a little insulting, the flotsam and jetsam of empire. These are people who've come here for different reasons from different places over the centuries, but who make up a remarkable community of people. A community of almost 30,000 people here who have no problems of racial tensions or anything like this, who speak English officially, but Spanish most of the time in everyday language, with a few of their own Gibraltarian words thrown in. and who feel Gibraltarian. They don't feel British, although they swear allegiance to the British Crown. They don't feel Spanish, although they speak Spanish. They cross the border often every day. They intermarry across the border. Some of them work across the border or live on the other side and work here. They feel Gibraltarian, and there may be very few of them, but they are people, and they are people who have rights, and those rights under European Union law must be respected. And we as European parliamentarians have a duty to make sure that the rights of the Gibraltar people are respected just as much as the rights of people anywhere else in the European Union. I feel very privileged to represent this community and this rock as part of my duties, because I believe they are a unique, some would say anachronistic community, but a unique community that have their own strengths and their own challenges, and who will need our attention, our understanding of the challenges they face, and our assistance at sometimes to help them. I would have expected, given some of the problems there have been over the years with the Spanish often arbitrarily closing the border, refusing them enough telephone numbers, generally making life difficult whenever they felt offended, I would have expected a lot of resentment against Spain. I don't find that here. I think people want to govern their own lives, which is fair enough, as they do in Catalonia or in the Basque Country. But these people don't feel Spanish, they feel Gibraltarian, and they want the Spanish government and the United Kingdom government, and indeed the European Union authorities, to respect their identity, their right to self-governance, and their right to live free from harassment and troubles from outside.